Hello, we're opening up and we're here for another Authentic You Power Talk. And today we are going to talk about counting our blessings and why it's so important. Let's make sure that we get into today's conversation. So the one thing that's really cool about this space, it runs a little bit differently than a typical podcast. I like to run it like talk radio, so you can easily hop on the stage if you're feeling inspired. Maybe you have a question. Maybe you want to share a story. It's always welcome and it's always invited. And I'm very pleased to be here. We are going to have a great discussion today. So I guess before we get into it, I have two things I want to say. My name is Kristina Holle. I am the founder of the Authentic You Coaching and Holle Consulting. And I am really helping people step into their own personal power, unlocking this potential that resides inside of you right now. And every single one of us have it. But sometimes we get caught up in emotional blocks or our confidence, or we just don't think we can do more. But I'm here to tell you there is so much more in you right now. And that is going to blow your mind. We just have to keep showing up for ourselves, doing a little bit every day. Discovering who you are a little bit every day is going to be extremely important. Today, we are going to talk about counting our blessings in our life. And this is a very important thing. When we really start to look at our life through the lens of blessings, we start to see different things. It changes how we see the world. Gratitude is not just a word. It's actually a powerful vibration that you bring into play. And when we understand that, it can change everything. It opens up a whole new portal in how you can show up in the world. So today's Power Talk is really about counting your blessings. Because in a world that we're always chasing the next best thing, we really forget to be in the now. And we really forget to look at all the stuff that we have right now instead of adding more to it. And because when we add more to it, we actually disconnect further and further from ourselves and our overall abundance. So I'm just going to pause there, and I have Truth in the queue. So I'm going to bring her up and see what she has to say. She hopped on right away. So I'm really excited to see what she has to share today.
It's been 2 weeks and I did okay. And I think what I did the best with was being gentle with myself instead of judging myself when I didn't meet my own expectations. And gratitude was actually a huge piece of that. Just being grateful that I was there, being grateful for the progress that I made, being grateful for the support that I had. And it was actually an accidental join, but I think it was like the universe telling me that.
Oh, I think so too.
About this.
100%. I think you should, because I remember before, just, it's so interesting because we're seeing the progression for everyone. I remember before you going to the event, it was, well, I'm going to show up as the new me and see how this is going to go. And I think that the message, and that is a blessing in itself, is the grace for yourself. And I will say this, I think it's really important to understand that when we're uncomfortable and something doesn't feel perfect yet, the universe is teaching us something in that moment. So just to be like, okay, I'm going to be kind, I'm going to see what I've learned. So you said that it went okay, you learned to be more kind to yourself. And what are you going to do with that learning now?
Well, hopefully I can keep going with it. It was definitely challenging. This was the fourth year that I've been to this event where I did not partake in any alcohol or substances.
So good.
And I've been doing it for 15 years, the event for 15 years. So each year it's been a little bit different. The first couple of years, I couldn't even go to any music. All I could do was work, and that was it. And just didn't have it in me. And this year I actually went to see some bands that I absolutely love. And I went with friends, and it was such a good time. And because before it was like I could go to a show if I wasn't working, and I could go to a show sober and have fun. But combining the work with it just didn't have it in me for like years. And so now I've gotten to that point where I actually can do both, and I've been able to find that balance, which is amazing, where I don't feel like I still need that drink of whiskey or something like that. So I did really well in that category. I think with food, there's still room for improvement, because we have catering provided. So it's not like it is at my house where I'm controlling what's in front of me.
Right.
There's a lot of really delicious stuff that is not good for me at all. So in those times of the higher emotions, I definitely found myself giving in the food category.
And you can finish that thought if you want. I think that there's such a lesson in that, because I just want to say this. It's not all happening at once, guys. So if you forfeited the alcohol and the one part of it, and you actually engaged in the event in the way that you did, that's a win. So maybe next time you'll be able to incorporate the food thing. I think that one thing I've learned on this journey is the more we can simplify our moves on a regular basis, the more empowered we are, that we know that we actually can do it. You can do it. And I would put the food part on the back burner. That's okay. So the next time we'll work on the food.
Absolutely. And I think the food piece is where I did give myself grace, because I was judging myself a lot at first. And then it's, first of all, I'm taking 3 times more steps than I normally would be if I were doing my computer job. I'm more active, so it's okay to eat some bread sometimes. And like the desserts, there was one day that I had like 4 cookies, and then I was like, we're not going to do 4 cookies again, but it's okay for me to have one.
Right. But look at that. That's a win. Yeah.
And finding that middle ground, and like definitely didn't set me back as far as my weight goals, just because of how active I was. But I think I was just a little disappointed in myself at first. But then the grace, because that's one of the biggest things that I'm trying to learn how to do this year, is to give myself grace. So I think that piece was really important too. And I held a lot of boundaries that were really important to me. So I'm super proud of myself for that. And I think another place that I struggled is when I get to those events, I go into that boss bitch warrior mode where I'm just like, this is this and that is that, and this is what we're doing. Everybody go. Right. And which is fine. It's just like, it's in opposition to a softer, gentler side that I live as today. And that piece I was okay with. But then the other piece that I did find myself falling back on, I was super proud that I caught it and I was able to switch it, is the falling into gossipy piece. Where like everybody always wants to gossip, be like, oh, did you hear this? Did you hear that? Can you believe they did this and that? And that was definitely old me, and I don't really participate in that
so
now.
good.
But I think that because I've been doing this event for so long, and because there's so much that just automatically kicks back in, I still found myself automatically doing those pieces. And then I'm like, no, wait. And there was the very first Sunday that I was there, I had the opportunity for Lois's program. And so I talked about that just a little bit. And so that was some good guidance and some strength to help me stay resolved in what I need to do. And the fact that just because I fall into it for a moment doesn't mean I have to stay in it. I have a choice, and I can change my mind at any point in time.
Right.
And I think that's what I forget sometimes, is I can always switch it around. So that felt really good too.
Well, and I think that there's another piece to that this is me from my intuitive spiritual side. I will always say that we are tested in these environments all the time to see if we've really learned it. So we can say, hey, I want to do grace this year. And then you'd be like, oh, no problem. And you're kind of brushing it off. But you literally got through the test. You actually had grace for yourself, where it's like, oh, this is baby steps. I don't have to do it all at once, but I'm showing up different than where I was before. And the fact that that negative crew, where that was the old version of yourself. You've outgrown it. That's why it felt uncomfortable or you're really not my thing. Whereas in the past, you wouldn't have even been able to identify that. You just would have been in it.
Oh, you're just deep in it.
So that is awesome for me because that is a sign of growth right there. And there's two things. One, you didn't punish yourself, which is amazing. We go back to habit, to how we've done things our whole life. So the punishing and doing all and letting myself down, all that stuff, that's the old you. But the new you is breaking through because you gave yourself some grace and you didn't engage in the low vibrational gossipy stuff. That's awesome. That's a win,
Yay.
a double. Honestly,
Thank you
really.
for the support.
Always, always. And I always have time for people that are actually reflective and they're seeing it in their real lives. And you are doing the work, my dear. That's why. And I'm just pointing out that you have a measurable. The old version of you is not here anymore. I really relate to this because when we are growing, the old version of ourselves will fight to try and still be there. And when you're feeling uncomfortable and unsure, the old version will be like, remember me? I was safe. Remember, this is how we used to always do things. Why not? Oh, it was so easy then. But you're outgrowing, you're taking that layer of skin off and you're moving into new territory. And it's baby steps, right? It's not like you open your wish out there and then you arrive. These little moments with what Truth said when she's like, I've been going to that event for 15 years. But this year it was a little bit different because I had a different level of awareness. And then it's like, oh my gosh, I'm growing. That is awesome. And we need to just honor those moments, celebrating those moments. You did it. It wasn't perfect, but you did it. And then the more we can do stuff like that, it's so powerful for you as you start to have more things come into your place. And you'll be challenged based on the old version of yourself, the old way of being. It will surface all the time. As you're growing, it's not going to take traction the same way. You will see things that you didn't see before, which is extremely powerful. And I would say that in itself is a massive blessing. So we have to acknowledge that. The reason why I chose to do this conversation today, and I was like 1 minute late today, is that my sister had her baby, my little niece, and I got to hold her. I was holding her just before I showed up here. 1 week old, this beautiful little being in my arms, and talk about blessings. We forget that we have so much to offer and that we have all these blessings that surround us every day. But sometimes when we are feeling frustrated, we have these moments, maybe where it's feeling really heavy, or maybe the bills are piling up, or maybe business isn't moving along, or friendships aren't as good as they were, or your marriage isn't booming the way that you want it to be. It's easy to fall into that space of, why isn't it working? What am I missing? Oh, the bottom's going to fall out. My life is, it's not what I desired. But I want you to really pause, because that perspective is only going to bring in more anxiety, stress, frustration. And guess what that is, guys? That's a low vibrational space. And when you're in low vibrational space, you cannot bring in all these amazing gifts that are there for you every day. But I will say that there is a shift that happens when you lean into yourself. It's one of those things where the blessings, simple blessings, like Terry just said, like having a shower in the morning, resetting, seeing a sunrise, being able to go for a walk with family members or your dog or by yourself. These are things that are already there in our life every day, but we miss them when we get caught up in the heaviness. And that's why every day, if you keep showing up, it's about decluttering that for yourself. Let's release things so we can see the blessings in our life, because when we are, your energy will shift. You'll be in higher vibrational space and you will start to see other things come in. So it could be remembering that you have breath Every morning you wake up, you have breath in your lungs. You got another day to tackle. That is incredible. You've got love in your heart. You've survived toughness. You've survived situations. And you're still here. And I'm always going to go back to the sunrise because I call it the show. I love it. I absolutely love it. I can send you incredible pictures. But that doesn't cost a thing. And it makes me giddy inside. And I'm so blessed that I get to go to the show every day. And you guys can go to the show too, wherever you are, because the show is different every day. How cool is that? But all you have to do is make the commitment to go and go to it. Is it a sunset in your area? Is it a sunrise? I'll tell you, if you get into that regular routine, which I do at the cottage, there's something about it that speaks to my soul. I love it so much. So that goes down in my blessings. And I'm so very grateful. Remember, gratitude is the gateway to higher. It's like a turbocharger to blessings in your life. It's like the drug to miracles. When you start counting your blessings, you amplify things. You see things differently and they start showing up everywhere. And when you acknowledge that, it's almost like you magnetize what can be made. You amplify it. You start manifesting. You start bringing really great things because energy flows where appreciation goes. So here, I'm going to share some practical tips with you, but I'm going to bring two guests up today, and I want them to really talk about what gratitude or blessings look like in their life. And maybe they have something else to share, but let's see how it unfolds. So first I'll bring Cece up and then I've got Steven.
Hi, Christine.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. I was in the queue and popped out, and then I think back in and back out, and now I'm in again. Hopefully, you can hear me.
I can hear you fabulously.
Grateful. Of course, I just realized how my life changed. Kudos to you. Celebrate your wins, but as I always say, it's a celebration of life. It's that gratitude. No matter what, we're celebrating that we are capable of doing these things, right? We are blessed to be able to do these things. We get to do these things. And I hear a lot of people saying simple blessings. You just mentioned taking a shower or sunrise and sunset. And something like taking a shower, that's there for us, but it's not there for a lot of people, right? But we've become so accustomed to having it in our lives that, oh my goodness, if we didn't have running water, it would be a really big deal. But we can also think about how many people in the world don't have clean water. They can't put their faucet on and just have a shower. So when we really think about life this way, and sunrise and sunset, oh my gosh,
Oh my God.
think about what has to be going on in the universe for that to be happening at all, and then for us to be able to experience it. Oh my goodness, it's fireballs sitting up in the sky, or
It's so true. It's so awesome.
It's just amazing. And I just don't find anything. There's no simple blessing to me. It's all pretty miraculous. It's all wow, outstanding. And I think we just get used to things, and so we call them simple, but there's not a simple anything. It's just all so awesomely amazing.
Yeah. And I think that if you take the time to really appreciate it, it changes everything. So if you talk to someone who didn't have money for food, and then all of a sudden they have money for food, they have a very different level of appreciation. But sometimes we live in this world where we have been given a lot and we've taken it for granted. I think simple things like that. Did you have hydro today that you could turn on the lights in your house? Say thank you for that. I think something happens when you see your life through a different lens and you're grateful for the perspective, and you understand when you're in a jam and things aren't moving and whatever, there is a lesson to be learned in that situation. And if you are one of the fortunate ones, this is why we talk about it all the time, where you are, I'm reflecting, I'm learning, what am I supposed to learn here? And then you start going and you show up. You're tackling the world through a different lens. And the key is the more that you are healed and aligned into your authentic self, your stories are just your stories. They don't hurt the same way. What a blessing in that. I remember for a very long time, and I know Cece and I have talked about this, but for a very long time, my stories were hidden. So I come on here and I'm like, hey, I share them as object lessons to show you I get it. DC gets it. We understand when you've been in such down and out, but how we deal with it, it's all a little bit different. But I find it such a blessing. It fascinates me that I can talk about stuff with you guys that it doesn't hurt anymore. But there was a time in my life where it hurt a lot. And I had to cover those wounds, and I had these protective walls and all this stuff. And it was just heavy. And if I was talking about it, it was like a little snippets because I was so shameful and not sure. But now it's like, it's just a part of the story. And I'm more interested about the stuff that's coming in because the blessing is learning how to know yourself and release the stuff that's not serving you anymore. And then now I'm going to bring Stephen, and then I'm going to go into some practical tips. And then I got 2 other people in queue. So awesome. Hey, Stephen, how's it going? Are you there? I can't hear you. Oh, now I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
All right. What are your thoughts, my dear?
Well, your lens has a lot to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember growing up and we weren't exactly rich. And so it was one of those things, once you got the survival skills mastered, you could pay your bills. You didn't worry about everything coming in. And then it was, oh, so now we have a house. What do we want to do to the house? Whereas my parents, what do we want to do to the house? Just maintain it. That's all we can afford. And we did the kitchen, we did the bathroom, then we moved someplace else and built a new one. And so it was simple things like that. You just assume you move your way up, but everybody doesn't move their way up. But as you look back on that, you look at what your focus was in the beginning, and then you look what your focus is now. And even over the last 7, 8 years, when the ground shifted and I became single, my focus in 2017 was, let's just get through the next day and go to work, and we'll see what kind of crap comes from the lawyers, and gosh knows what else is going to happen. And eventually this will all finish up and we'll go from there. And then we went from there, and I started, the first thing you have to get, you realize who you are and what you value. And so that's my authentic self. And I'm like, all right, I need a plan. And so I took this thing called Financial Peace University, and I got a plan. And then I went and looked at my health a little bit and started exercising a lot more and took care of that one. There were a few other things. Been going to counseling and doing some of that to take care of the mental side of it. It was just one of those things. So which bull do I want to wrestle to the ground next? What do I want to take care of? Because I get a choice to do that. Or I could just, I don't know. I've watched some people around me go through the same thing, and it just destroys them.
Right.
Thinking, oh my God, because one of the guys I work with, he's no longer with us. I remember looking at him and somebody's like, oh, Jerry didn't go through his divorce the best. And then he got COVID and pneumonia at the same time and was gone. And I'm like, oh my gosh, look what happens when you don't take care of yourself.
Right.
And there's only one person that can do that for me, and that's the guy in the mirror.
Wow. That's a blessing in itself that you have awareness about that. That's a gift.
So you just got to show up and go do it. I don't know.
If you want to live a different life, you have complete control of those circumstances. But if you're telling yourself these stories about, oh, well, this is the only way you can do it, this way or that way, then yourself is going to believe that there's only this way or that way. But when you start telling yourself stories, or you're encouraging yourself, I can do this, I can be this, I can do it for myself, I'm showing up for myself, that's when the magic happens, because you're breaking away from that you're stuck. Because if you truly believe that there's only 2 ways that you can be, and you're kind of locked in. And I'm going to say from a female perspective, oh God, I either have to do this or I got to do that. Then that's really heavy. That's like, oh gosh, what? I don't want that. But and I'm a pretty strong female and I've been in those tough environments, I was like, I'm not having it. I'm going to count my blessings. I know that I deserve to be here and I am the only one who can drive that bus. So I think it's really powerful because you broke away from that. I think that, remember I said that we have these things that happen in our lives, they're meant to teach us. This whole relationship that you had with your ex was really meant to teach you a lot in order to see how you see the world for you and not through the lens of a female. I don't know why, like that, who you're supposed to be as a partner, all that stuff. So it was really a blessing in disguise. That's what I'm trying to say, in order for you to break free the way that you have.
Well, I definitely understand that. I've done so much in the last 7-8 years that I would have never been able to get to do, and there was a part of me that was thinking, well, in my next life, I'm going to do that. And I knew I was disconnecting. It's just, I wasn't going to walk away because I figured there was always a chance of healing, but I was the only one out of the two that wanted to work on it. And so here we are, and here I am.
And the healing, this is the part that's the kicker. The healing was for you and really to know your worth and what you're willing to tolerate and what not. When we're with partners, they're supposed to make us better, not make us less. And we have to thank her because she taught you in a way you're like, no, this is not who I am. And you went on that. So that is the blessing in disguise, because the person that I speak to on a regular basis is very in tune and very aware and working on themselves every day. And I admire that. I think that's amazing. That's why you're not going to wait to your next life. You're going to do it now, whatever it is that you desire to do. Right?
Darn straight on that.
See, it's so good. And I think that's why blessings are so important, because it's not only the easy stuff. It's actually when you can look at these lived experiences and understand there's a blessing in there. What are you supposed to mean? What's supposed to happen? Did you need to shift your whole identity to really break free and let you loose out and do what you need to do? Who knows? I think everybody has these experiences, but are you seeing it as a blessing? Thank you so much, Stephen. I think it's really important for us to understand that there's blessings that reside in those awful situations. You're like, how is this even happening? You're meant to learn something in it, because it's almost like one of those things, I call them tower moments. It's going to break open parts of you that you have to break in order for you to get to the next part of the discovery of self. So we'll say thank you to those blessings. How can we ensure that we are counting these blessings? So I started to do this intuitively, and I strongly recommend that you guys do this because it's kind of fun. I would grab a sticky note or a journal right now, or have it with you every day. Where do you go every day? Where you can see it, and write down 5 things. Or I'm literally keeping it as a log. Today I have on there, seeing tiger lilies at the rec center made me smile. I was so happy seeing a bunny on my path today. You guys know how I see bunnies and I'm like, oh my God, I literally did a little hee. I'm so happy because I know that that's a little message for me. So whatever it is for you, start to write them down. What about this? This literally happened. We're selling one of our properties, and we were talking about the way we got to sell it. We have to look at where is there a real estate agent. And I go outside. I'm going to take my dog for a walk. My dog walks up to a neighbor that has been in my neighborhood for 16 years. I've never spoken to. And she's like, oh, I love dogs. I'm like, oh, sure. And she's like petting my dog. And I'm like, oh, aren't you a real estate agent? She goes, yes, I am actually. And I'm like, really? That's because I'm in flow. That's because things just start to align. But that's also because I am writing it down. I put real estate agent on the list. that I bumped into her today. Wow, what a gift. So start doing that. That's a lot of fun. It's actually kind of giddy. So I'm going to put on here talking with my new vibe folks, my community. I love it. Now, another thing you can do is say thank you out loud. I do this all the time. I'd be like, thank you, universe. I call it universe, whatever. You can say, thank you, Johnny, for giving me this, or thank you to yourself. Because when you start using words like that, your body feels it and it gets you excited, right? It's increasing the vibration. You'll literally feel it. When I say thank you, it feels like giving myself a hug. I'm like, yes, thank you for that. That's awesome. Even if I go around the house and I find 50 cents, I'm like, thank you. Because it's encouraging that flow of abundance into your life. And it changes the tone and how you start to shift your overall frequency. Every time in your brain, if you hear yourself saying, oh, I'm not enough, or, oh, look at, I already have this, or, oh, this isn't working for me, I want you to hear my voice. Just stop and pivot and say, I am enough. Reframe it immediately. Because when you reframe it, it starts to change the narrative. And you can say, hey, I don't know what it is yet, or I'm learning. But we want to be aware of our frequency, our vibration. So energetically, we are energetic beings. So so when we're talking about well-being, this is your energy. This is your higher self, however, your intuition, all that stuff, however you want to lean into it. So frequency it's a whole other language. But when you are saying things that are low vibe, like the gossiping, the jealousy, the fear, the guilt, the judgment, you are not going to be able to count your blessings. It's like having a broken telephone. Remember those old telephones where it would be trying to communicate? Some of us even know what the party lines are before cell phones, but the line is not clear. We want to make sure that we're actively catching ourselves. Am I in higher frequency? Am I in higher vibration right now? It's very important. And I would say you have to set yourself a blessing anchor. And so I know that sounds really funny. You're going to be like, what? A blessing anchor. Have an object that you have with you. Maybe it's on a keychain. Maybe it's a ring. Maybe it's your necklace. Maybe it's something at the mirror. But have it that when you see it, it makes you smile, and you know that every time you see it, it's like saying thank you for the moment, thank you for having fresh water, thank you for having electricity, whatever it is. But it's the reminder. Sometimes we need a little reminder to put us in this position, because the goal is to make it stick. Because blessings, they multiply when we acknowledge them. And we don't just count them once and we say, oh, that's luck. We actually build a ritual around them. We have gratitude before bed, and then we have good intentions and gratitude in the morning. And I know it feels like, oh my goodness, it's too much, but it's not. There can never be too much of blessings. That is literally when we talk about, I want abundance in our life. Fools will get so caught up that abundance is only money. It is not only money. There is abundant things in your life everywhere. Do you have people in your life that love you? Do you have a safe environment to go out to? Can you go to a park? Do you have fur babies? Do you have people that are supporting you? Are you here now? These are all blessings. This is the language of abundance. And I think it's important, because when you start to pivot and you start to look at it differently, you will realize that when you do this, it's compound interest. You are building more and more of these amazing environments for yourself. And this is the journey. You can have a lot of fun with it. You can be playful. You can do great things. So look at the blessings that you have in your life and make sure that we're appreciating them. And that could be the phone call. That could be a quick text message saying, hey, I appreciate you. Just thinking of you today. Wow. How amazing is that? That changes the tone completely, because we live in a world of chaos right now. Let's be honest. There's a lot going on out there. There's a lot of unrest and people are trying to figure it out. But what you can control is you and your perspectives and how you want to tackle the world. First, you have to be very grounded in who you are. And that's why we have our conversations every day, to really make sure that we are getting locked in. And this is the best way to do it, because it's not going to be a superficial, like, oh, I gotta do this. It's not going to feel real. It's actually you being grounded in who you are. And I'll say this on the side. You can't trick the universe. Universe knows all. So you have to really feel it. You got to really feel it and be grounded in it. And then all these special little gifts will start coming your way. Remember, not just chasing a better life. We're recognizing the beauty that exists here right now. That's why being present right now is critical. Don't get locked up in the past. Don't get so locked up in the future. Be present today. This is the power. Okay? Because you can stay grateful. You can stay grounded. I'm getting big messages about being grounded. You don't need to wait to feel grateful. You choose it. You count your blessings and you watch them multiply. All right, you beautiful souls. I will catch you tomorrow.